Okay, so here we are, and we're going to take a right here, and we're going to proceed down into the basement, which appears to be unfinished. So we'll get a look here. Now, on your seller disclosure, they talk about some issues that they've had, and so I think the key thing here is we want to make sure that we're using the right directions that we're looking at here. So I'm just going to go around and turn on some lights here. What lights I can find. And then we'll begin. Okay, so this wall where they have the radon mitigation system, which is that pipe right there, and then the washer dryer, the hair dryer, or excuse me, the water heater, and the furnace, that would be the south wall. And then when I turn right here, that would be the west wall where the water service is. And then this would be the north wall. And just kind of keep that in the back of your mind, because it's hard to keep track sometimes about where you're at in these homes. So on a couple of items here, this would be the east wall right here. So this is concrete block construction. I'm familiar with it. And you know, it's one of those things where what I look for is to see if there's any deflection. But the first thing I'm going to do is look at the electrical panel. And this thing is totally full. They do have one small sub panel. And this is a 100 amp box, which is typical in this marketplace for existing housing. Now, the first thing I want you to be aware of is you see this gray stuff here. And this is actually installed professionally to catch the water that comes out. What they probably did is they drilled holes in the mortar down below where this is covering. And what they want that to do is when these blocks fill up with water, the water has a place to go. And you can see how the concrete looks different here. And this is telling me that they actually did some drain tiling on here to try to fix this thing. Now the other thing I try to do is I want to look at the wall and whether there's any deflection in the wall. And of course it's difficult to tell, but let's see if we can get back here. This crack does not bother me too much because it's all along the mortar. If it was in the middle of a block, I'd feel probably a little bit differently. But as I'm looking down this wall, it looks pretty plumb. And the only way I could tell you that it's not is if we were able to see a house that did not have plumb walls, and I'd show you what deflection looked like. And that's not pleasant. So let's take a look at this thing. I'm trying to find a date here. It's a radon away system, but they're supposed to put a thing there saying when they treated it for radon. So it's got a radon mitigation system. That's good. The fact that it's got a radon mitigation system doesn't mean the radon might not be high. And you may want to test for it. And then if it continues to be high, then have somebody help you figure it out, just what's going on here. Now, a lot of people in our marketplace, if they're going to finish off the basement, that's what they'll do. But if they don't have plans to spend much time in the basement, then there's going to be less inclination to do that. Now, this sump pump is drilled. You can see the screws in there, and the reason they're in there is because they have to seal this pit, because this pit, believe it or not, is a huge source of radon. And they seal it so that the radon can't escape there. So I can't see what the sump pump looks like, but I can tell you it's got a backflow preventer that is a Zeller. And Zeller is a good name from what I've heard from other guys. And of course, we saw where the discharge pipe goes out on the side yard there. So you see this system here. They've done this drain tiling. Then you see it change. And now this is actually gathering the water along this. This is another form of trying to deal with this water problem. And I think, well, no, I don't want to say anything yet. I'm not sure where they're trying to go with this thing, but it's all back in here. And it looks like they abandoned this. So I'm not sure totally what they're trying to do here. Now, this water heater was installed in 2025, so that's a good thing. Now, that water heater, you see this pipe, it's not a high efficiency item because it needs to use a chimney to exhaust the hot gases. So, bottom line on this thing is it's not high efficiency, which isn't uncommon to see, but again, let's see what size it is here. I don't know if you can see that or not. Looks like it could be a 40-gallon from what I'm seeing. And then we've got a high-efficiency furnace. And the way that I can tell it's a high-efficiency furnace is because we've got an exhaust and an intake. And that's what this PVC pipes do. And with the exhaust, that means this unit is so efficient that they can exhaust the gases through PVC pipe. And that goes outside also. Now, on this puppy, I'm not sure what the age on this is. Let's see if they'll tell us here. It says new furnace, 2012. And this chimney used to use, see, you've got the fireplace on this side, you got the chimney on this side for the hot water heater. But originally this was not high efficiency, so they actually had two pipes going into this chimney here to utilize both of them. So right now the fireplace is, or the whole water heater is the only thing that's being used on that one side. As I look at the basement floor, I can tell you this is probably where the old gravity-fed furnace was at one point, and they had the big ductwork and all that stuff. And we called them octopus furnaces back in the day. Here's where this is probably for the laundry from the main bath to drop dirty clothes down. This white material is probably some form of asbestos, and not uncommon to see this. What I would recommend to anyone that buys any of this is that they encapsulate it by using some of the metal tape that they use on furnaces, and you could even encapsulate it by painting it. So that's just something to kind of keep in mind. And of course, all this stuff, they've tried to insulate this. I don't know how much value that insulation has, but yeah, it's hard to say. Now, you see this pipe coming up here. I don't know if they're trying to go out underneath the porch there, and if they're trying to use that as a way to call that a four-season porch. But all I can tell you is good luck with that, because it wasn't intended as a four-season porch. That's just my take. Now again, there's that system that they use. Now you see this discoloration here. And we've got a little bit more back here that I'm going to share with you. And again, you guys may already know these things, but what we're doing today is you need to know how Dave Maubach looks at a house. And then you can tell me to back off if I'm boring you to death. But you can see this stuff here, and this is what I refer to as effervescence. And you see how that just comes off? Concrete block and stone are water, moisture permeable types of materials. And so what that means is that if you don't run a dehumidifier nonstop in about 9 months out of the year, this is going to build up all the time. And then every 7 years or so, you wire brush it, paint it, and do it again. There are some types of paint that they say will hold walls in place. I don't know any paint that does that. So again, that's just my take on it. Now you can see where they've had the penetration here. And again, that was on the side where they tried to seal there. And they might want to do that again. But that dirt here, that's actually mud, that's mud coming in here. And it's happened all along this wall. Now, that's telling me that they're still getting the penetration. I'm looking at this wall. I've seen them a lot. I mean, I'm not seeing a lot of deflection, but I think there is a little bit of deflection on this wall. And this wall looks fairly good. This is a sewer clean out. And then, let's take a look here. This is another form of a clean out. I thought this might in fact be a sump pit, but it's not. So, I would tell you too that one thing a guy could do is maybe do a spot thing on this for drain tiling, just to get it back here, because that water, we've had some pretty heavy rain here recently, but boy, that's really something. This little hose here is the condensate from the furnace, so I'm not worried about that. I'm just taking a look at some of these other things here. I would tell you that what I really like is I'm seeing the support posts that appear to be in place where they need to be, and I'm not seeing a whole bunch of jack posts, which bothers me about structural integrity on a house. So I think that's a good thing. So I want to take a look over here real quick at this water service, because I thought they said they replaced their lead line. And that's a new thing coming out by the EPA. So I can't tell you what this should be is copper. But I can't tell you if that's copper coming in there. Usually it'd be discolored and that kind of thing. But if they did replace the lead lines, and these things here do appear to be copper. But I'm looking at this line here, and this is a galvanized piping. And then they tapped in with some flexible piping, which a lot of times they'll call PEX. And as we walk over here, you can see that they've used a combination of blue and red. The red stands for hot water, the blue stands for cold water. So they've done some work on this as far as that goes. But I don't know that I can tell you beyond shadow of a doubt that the lead pipes have been replaced in the sewer. At this point in time, not based on what I'm seeing. I thought I saw something there, and I'll review that again. But these would appear to be galvanized piping. So, anyway, the other thing I was going to tell you, it looks like they've got one of these old kitchen sinks. I hear they're worth money. Don't know to be true, but it's nice having an extra sink. And then the other thing is, it looks like they've got electric for the dryer, and it's not uncommon where you would even see some, it'd be real simple to run gas because you're right near gas and everything. So you could do that if you absolutely thought you needed to, because there's a gas pipe right there. So anyway, that's it. Oh, one last thing about this floor. When I see this has definitely had some water issues here. You can see that. They had this framed in at one point. But when I look at a basement floor in an older house, what happens is if they have real water problems, you have some tremendous upward pressure from underneath. And then it makes that floor flex, and then you get deflection in the floor. I'm not seeing a lot of that in this floor. This floor does not look too dang bad. Now it looks dirty and all this other stuff, but that's just because it doesn't have systems in place to handle that very well. So anyway, that's all I have. I'll be getting these out to you, and we'll kind of go from there. Thanks.